Welcome YouTube, this is the Velvet Locks with a get ready with me chit chat type of video. So I am up bright and early. This is Saturday morning. So I'm going to be doing this video today because I'm getting ready to head out with my honey. He has a doctor's appointment this morning. So we're getting ready to do that, plus some other things for the July weekend. So we're just doing things together. If I'm not quite looking at the camera, please don't mind me because I'm looking at the mirror right here, right? So yeah, you girl, there's just been so much stuff going on lately. One of the things was kind of like a health scare just recently. Matter of fact, it was just this week. It was Thursday. And I guess this would be something like a conversation based on a video that I did regarding menopause and things that I guess us women don't really know, you know, in the beginning, because we've never entered into this phase of our life before. So there's certain things that we don't know, and it's just a matter of going through it that you actually experience it, and that's when you actually learn about these new changes. So getting to that now, on Thursday morning I was home preparing myself to do some running around with my kids because they're out from school, and I needed to get some things done, you know, around the house, as well as prepare myself for my eBay store, you know, to do some running around and to get some things to set it back up again. So in doing so, out of nowhere, and I mean out of nowhere, all of a sudden, and this is, listen, let me just say this much before we even go further. This is going to be a TMI kind of video. So if you ladies aren't into wanting to hear my story regarding my experience with menopause, and I mean, it's going to be kind of graphical details, you know, talking about blood. So if this is not your thing and you're not trying to hear anything regarding that, then by all means just click off this video, you know, because we are going to be talking about various things, but you can always come back on when I finish this part, or just fast forward it, whichever one. But for those of you who are of a certain age and experience this, you know, this is a video that I guess you can also help me with, as well as those of you who are entering in that stage of menopause or is premenopausal like myself. Okay, so with that being said, I'll see you other people later, maybe in a later part of the video, or I'll see you in another video, okay? But for those of you still here, we're going to be discussing about that. We're going to be talking about that in this earlier part of the video. So, like I mentioned, me and the children were, you know, me and my two youngest was preparing to do some running around. And out of nowhere, ladies, and I mean out of nowhere, I mean, I was dressed. I had already did some running around for the earlier part of the morning, came back home and was preparing to run back out again, when all of a sudden, and I mean all of a sudden, it's like the floodgates just open, just burst open, and blood just everywhere, just gushing everywhere. Okay, now I tell you, my menstrual, I thought, stopped a couple of months back, because I also did a video and it was talking about menopause, and then I was like, wait a minute, but it didn't come yet. Alright, that was when I noticed that it was slowing down, it was stopping. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's actually finally stopping, you know, maybe this is it, finally no more menstrual cycles. Well, the joke was on me, because out of nowhere, like I mentioned, I just was in a panic mode now, trying to figure out what the heck is going on with my body and what's going on here. Why is this happening? So I was already dressed. Thank God I had on black, but it didn't make a difference anyway, because I had to change. And it was so bad, I tell you ladies, it was so bad. It was so much blood that it was just flowing down my legs, flowing, 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 flowing. And even when I tried to, you know, when you gotta use when you have to use the bathroom and you clench your legs together, you gotta pee real bad. Well, it was one of those type of things, but it was something that just couldn't be stopped because I couldn't control that, and it was just flowing. It was just flowing. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, what to do next, what to do next. I gotta grab a pad. I gotta figure out what to do, what's going on, why is my body doing this? I don't know. It was just out of nowhere, and it was just a panic. So once I finally got to a pad, and that was just a temporary fix moment because it was just to stop it so I didn't mess up my carpet, oh my gosh. Okay, thank God my carpet now is brown, but it was like one of those things that I just didn't want to mess up my carpet. I didn't even care about the outfit anymore because it was already done. It was just done. So I then called my assistant because she went through something like this a while ago, and this happened when she was at the airport going to Jamaica. So I remember us having a conversation where she mentioned out of nowhere she was just in this pool of blood at the airport, sitting waiting for her flight. And I asked her, like, I need to find out something because I remember we had this conversation, and I remember you mentioned something similar to what's going on with me, and I just wanted to get some insight, you know, insight on what happened, what was going on with you. Now mind you, she had to have some fibroids removed. They were huge. Mind you, I also have fibroids, but mine are small. So my question was like, what happened? What caused that? Later on, she had to have her fibroids removed because they were really big. It was a lot of fibroids, and they were pretty much the weight of babies, small babies. So she told me what happened to her, and out of nowhere, she just was in a pool of blood. So I told her what took place that morning with me, and how I'm gonna have to go to emergency because I don't know why this is happening. You know, I just needed some help. I need to get some information on this. So I called my GYN, who was in the midst of seeing patients at the time. So she didn't get back to me right away, but I was already on the way now to the hospital. Okay, after I took a shower, took another shower actually, and changed my clothes. But the thing is this, it was to the point where even the smell was different. Like I said, this is a graphic video, so those of you who are squeamish and don't want to hear these details, please just click off the video. I completely understand, but for those of you who have been through this and know what I'm talking about, stick around because your sis needs some help. Okay, like I said, this is another phase of life that I've not entered yet. So I mean, on my last video when I spoke about menopause, you girls, you ladies were so informative, you were so helpful, and this is why I'm redoing this video. Not redoing, but I'm doing this video again based on my new situation that took place. Okay, so now after talking to my assistant, well, during talking to my assistant, before getting into the shower, I mentioned to her what took place out of nowhere, how my menstrual stopped, and then I haven't seen it. It was spotting for the last couple of months, and I'm thinking, okay, it slowed down, but in actuality, I was starting to retain a lot of water in my body. My face started looking fat, and I'm not even gonna lie, I have been kind of backsliding. I have been, you know, snacking on certain things that I shouldn't have been snacking on, but I stopped and I was detoxing. So I was back on my health journey, like I mentioned in one of my videos, because I'm trying to lose this little weight, this weight that just popped up on me. And I was mentioning that sometimes weight gain could also be triggered to your hormonal status, depending on where you are in your walk of life, you know. And my struggle was a few things. It was the things that I was snacking on, as well as me being menopausal, well, perimenopausal. So the problem now was, okay, you know, asking questions, getting info. Now, like I said, I was retaining water in my body, and I noticed the weight gain in my face. in my body and a lot of bloating in my belly area. So even as I was detoxing, it just wasn't moving. I wasn't getting rid of that extra water that was there. It was like a stubborn, it was just stubborn. It wasn't going anywhere. It was in my belly area. Not realizing that that was old blood sitting in my stomach because I hadn't had a menstrual the past few months. And I didn't realize that your body can do that. I didn't realize that you can carry around old blood. So when I mentioned to my assistant that, you know, there was a certain smell that was different about it, and how it smelled kind of, and what we call it in Jamaica, we call it frowsy. It smelled kind of frowsy. Frowsy meaning, you know, raw, fishy. And I'm not talking about funk fish. We talking about like you've been out there running around playing all day and you just smell mouldy, you smell frowsy, you smell, you know, fishy kind of. So she said that's because that's the old blood that you was still carrying around in your body. And somehow or another, because of the fibroids that I have, it wasn't able to come out. So, okay, fine. You know, after our conversation, I mean, I was a little more relieved talking to her, but I knew I had to go to the hospital just to make sure all was well. You know, but in the meantime, I had my children with me, my youngest ones, and they were, you know, one is 16 and the other one is 20. So I had them with me, and we went to the hospital. And I tell you, first of all, the staff at the hospital was wonderful. They were wonderful. But when I got there, now see, the thing is this, I was fine as far as, like, once the blood just came out all over the place, I then started having a lot of lower abdominal pains and pressure. And it wasn't until I got out my vehicle to walk to emergency that I started feeling more pressure. And I tell you, it felt like my uterus was trying to fall out of me. That's how much pressure it was. It was harsh pressure. Now that wasn't happening, but that's what it felt like. So you know, waiting in the emergency area to be called, and once they did a they kind of evaluate you a little bit before actually admitting you. My pressure was high, which was something that is not normal for me because I don't have high blood pressure, but my pressure was high. And I guess based on that fact, she then put a tag on me and got a doctor right away to see me and put me on a gurney and wheeled me right into the emergency triage area. So that's when another they got me ready for an abdominal exam and also a sonogram to see what's going on in my stomach, in my uterus area, actually. And come to find out, that's exactly what it was, because even the nurses that was helping me, that was caring for me, when I was asking them questions, because they asked you, well, what's going on? So I was telling them what was happening with me, and they were 57 years old. Now the first one I spoke to, she's 57 years old, and she still gets her menstrual, okay? And she mentioned one day at work, that same thing happened to her. Where out of nowhere, in her white outfit, her white work uniform, she now was in a pool of blood. Okay? And she says, don't worry, you still got years to go. And that was really like, are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me? I gotta go through this more? This is not the end? So she says, well, I'm 57 years old, and sometimes it stops earlier than that, but listen, you still got a ways to go before this thing stops. So that really like caused me to be like, oh my God. So now what's gonna happen? Do I have to wear Pampers all day? What do I gotta do? Because do I have to walk around with a change of clothes? You know, now do I gotta pack a emergency bag with me and carry it with me in case something happens while I'm out on the street? Because honestly, me and my kids was about to go out, and had this thing happen when we were on the street, oh my God, or in a store, imagine the embarrassment. Well, I thank the Lord that He did not allow me to go through that, because that, wow, that would have really have been something. I would have been so ashamed, so embarrassed. So she mentioned this is what she has to do now. She has to pack, you know, some backup clothes, as well as walk around now with the bag, well, you know, with her big pads, you know, because out of nowhere, you never know. She said there's signs, and you know, you just got to be really mindful now of the signs that your body gives you to let you know that it's happening. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, I wasn't having any signs. But then I thought a little bit deeper, and yes, I was having signs because I was cramping. And the cramps are what told me, but I wasn't really, you know, flowing. So I said, okay, I guess my body was kind of telling me that something was about to happen. I guess I was underestimating that it was going to happen because it hadn't happened in a few months. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that ain't going to happen now. Well, now I know that I have to now pack, probably in my vehicle or in my bag, when it's almost that time, to pack an extra set of clothes, just as a backup. Just as a backup. Bottoms, whether it be skirt, undies. Always have pads in my bag, because it's just like, you just never know. But yes, you girls, you know, turns out that's what it was. Then a nurse, my discharge nurse, she also said she was 57 years old, just like the first nurse. Now, I'm not that age, so these are older women telling me this. That she also is 57 years old, and the same thing happened to her. And she was out and about too, and boom, the floodgates poured out. Just broke, the dam broke, and that was the end of that. That was the end of that. She was just messy. So getting some advice from her, like, what do you do now? And she's the one that told me to stay very tuned into what my body's saying. Pay very close attention to the signs that my body is giving me that this is about to happen when it's around that cycle again. And it's so unpredictable, because she says that you may menstruate for a week or two, or week, and then it stops, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later it's back again. And that's so true, because that's what's been happening last week. You know, I've been having these little low flows, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe because it's not a full flow, that this is why it's happening like this, popping up here, popping up there. But it seemed like it was like then being a consistent, it happened last week, and then again it came again this week on a low flow, and then out of nowhere, boom, boom, boom. So yeah, that's what happened, ladies. But all is well. My health is fine. My health is fine. Other than that, I do have multiple small fibroids that have not changed in size, so that's a wonderful thing to know. And I guess during when you're actually in your menopausal state, because right now, like I said, I'm perimenopausal, so as you go through your symptoms and signs and stages of menopause, I was told that those fibroids actually shrink and disappear. So that's wonderful to know. Until then, I'm just going through my different phases and stages of womanhood. But yeah, that was definitely a traumatic health scare for me, because I had no idea, did not know this is what women go through. I've never seen my mother going through it, so I did not know that these things existed for females. I did not know. Yeah, so yeah, that was my health scare this week, you girls. I really didn't know what was going to happen. I thought maybe they were going to have to probably do surgery. I just had no idea of the different things we females have to go through in life. And then the moodiness. We get very moody. And, you know, men just don't understand. Even my boobie, he didn't understand why I was so moody at all. To the point where after seeing what I was going through, turns around and apologizes for not understanding me a little bit more. But I thank God that he is that kind of person that's very supportive, and that I could actually share these type of experiences with, because not all men want to hear that. They get very squeamish, but he's not like that at all. At all. I mean, he's definitely my bestie. I could share even the most grossest things with him, and we could talk about those type of things, life things, without having to feel uncomfortable about him looking at me weird or squeamish or standoffish, or, you know, he's there with me, and that's great. I really love that about him. He's there with me. Even when, if there's any situation where I'm not doing well, first thing he's like, let's go to the hospital. So he's really on hands with me. On deck. And I really feel good knowing that I have somebody who has my back, even in my own situations of need, you know. Especially womanly stuff, because he was scared. He was really scared for me. So it's good when you have somebody that you can share your issues with, and that they can bear your infirmities and feel your situation with you, and take on some of that pain and worry, and support you through it, care for you through it, not run from you. And that's a wonderful thing. I really am grateful that God sent someone like that in my life, that when I'm going through stuff and being, you know, going through afflictions, I don't have to do that by myself. So yeah, you girls. So that's one of the things that I went through just recently. Another phase of things that I did not realize when it came to this thing called menopause. But yeah, he has health issues as well. And we're going to deal with those health issues together as well, because he has high blood pressure and he has diabetes. Okay, he says it's type 1, but no, it's type 2. He doesn't want me to worry about that, but he has type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure, which is not a good combination. And just recently, this same week, he passed out at his job. Yes, he passed out at his job because his sugar was high. And this is a stubborn person, though, I tell you. He's stubborn because he has no self-control when it comes to things that he knows he's not supposed to be eating. And he tries to dabble in this and dabble in that, thinking that, oh, well, I don't have this problem. I said, yeah, because you're on your medication. But even with his medication, still, that's not a reason to try and push the fact that you are diabetic. And then start eating these things you have no business eating. So this morning we're going to the doctor now to work on his nutrition as well as check him out. And I got some questions, you know, that I want to ask the doctor. So I'm going for support as well as for, you know, help, because if we're planning on being together, I have to know how to care for him. And don't think that I'm not helping him. I do, you know, try to work with him as far as the teas to lower his you know, blood pressure and to regulate his blood sugar. But that is not effective when somebody just does not want to take proper nutritional measures and eat the right things. So regardless of what you're doing, like he takes his Bragg's apple cider vinegar every morning, and that's been helping him, but it won't help if you're still eating the wrong foods and you're not taking your situation seriously when it comes to these extra sugars. So that's what's going on, you guys. Yep. But for the most part, he's healthy. You know, he's feeling better. He's feeling good. And yeah, he's feeling good. So we're just gonna have a wonderful weekend. What do you call it? I should wear this one because I'm wearing the gray. Yeah. So we're gonna have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. We're so excited. I'll probably try to vlog as much as possible. Yeah, I'll wear these instead. Vlog as much as possible because we plan on doing a lot of great things with the kids. Just family fun stuff. That's it. Family fun stuff. Because God is so good. He really is. So he's going to be hanging with us all weekend. He's off on the weekends, so that's a good thing. Now we can actually do more for the summer. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do my Milani. This is my Milani matte cream, and this is in the Amore matte. I like this color. So yes, I'm finished with my makeup look. Okay. You know, it's a casual look. I'm going to put on some 3/4 length sweat pants. And I have a nice crop top floral thing, which you don't really see much right here. But I will show a picture of that. So stay tuned for more. See you soon.